Peace, beautiful beings. Welcome, welcome back. I put a vlog up yesterday and I'm filming today. What? Look at her. Who is she? It's about 9 a.m. I'm out a little late. I like to get out here earlier before the sun starts to come down on everyone, chickens and plants included. The chickens are in this little coop right now. That coop used to be over there. Wait, nope, not over there. Over there on the other side of the garden, if you remember. But we moved it here by the house because I needed to plug in the heating mats that I was using to keep the chicks warm when we moved them outside at night. Or when we move them outside, that's what I use to keep them warm at night. But now they're all fully feathered, so they no longer need any heat support, especially during the daytime. So we just haven't moved this coop anywhere yet. But this coop will be our future infirmary. So whenever we do have a sick bird or a bird that needs extra care, we'll be able to put it in this coop because my new coop will be getting completed this week. Hopefully. We just spoke to our contractor. Yes, we hired a professional because if y'all have been here since the van days, you see how Matt and I, we do our best with construction work, but it is definitely not our expertise, and I'd much rather pay someone who's gonna do it nicely. So they're coming this week to complete that. But right now, I am taking them out of this coop every day, all 13 chicks, by hand, and moving them to this little outdoor pen that Matt helped me put up. Here it is. There they are. It's just like one big circle, and they used to be in this circle. You can't tell, probably, well, you kind of can tell that they ate all of that grass. They took all that clover down, and we moved them to this circle, and they're kind of working on this patch, and then we'll move them here, and they'll work on this patch, and you know, rotational grazing. Those of you who watch a lot of homestead channels or are homesteaders yourself, chicken keepers, you've probably seen people do trash on the ground. Then you've probably seen chicken keepers use things called a chicken tractor, which is basically just a coop on wheels, and then they'll move that around, and then they'll set up a temporary fencing like we did and let their chickens graze their entire land. And it is a nice way to keep your land healthy and to have healthy chickens because they're not having to graze in that same area constantly. They can get bugs, they can get everything they need, and then they move on to the next spot. So that's sort of what we're doing now until my coop and run is done and until they start learning how to free range. But it is a process. It is a process. I try to get 3 at a time to make my trip easier, but I really need to get some sort of big box to carry everybody in. And that, my friends, is the process. Over and over and over until all the chickens are in this little pen. Every morning, every evening, before it's time to put them up. I cannot wait for their coop to be done. Enjoy! Come on, sweetie, come get some water. Little bit of food for you. I love putting them out here. Their whole energy changes when they get to be with the clover and the weeds and the bugs. Yesterday was the first time we put them in this specific patch, and it was so cute to watch them fight over bugs. They were getting beetles. Sweetie got a beetle and everyone was chasing after her. I was trying to get them off of her so she could eat it. All right, off to the garden now. I originally came out with Aura with the tripod, had the garden, had the camera ready to prune some plants and talk to you all about pruning. And then Aura didn't want to be in the garden anymore, so I had to bring her back to Daddy, and chickens needed some loving and attention. So now, about half an hour later, here we are on our way back to the garden, for the original intention of this video. All right, so I brought you out here today because my tomato plants look terrible. That's not true. They look very healthy, but they are a little wild. They are out of control right now. They need to be pruned and they need to be supported. So I got my stakes, my bamboo stakes, and some twine, and I will be pruning them and I will be supporting them so they can all look good. Like my two volunteer plants I showed you all, those have been supported and pruned already, and you can already tell that they are healthier and already producing fruit. So for those of you who are very new to the gardening world, pruning is when you remove a piece of a plant or a bush or a tree, a branch, a leaf, anything like that, a twig, to benefit the plant in many different ways and for many different reasons. But in this case of tomatoes today, and also my peppers that I need to prune, we want to remove leaves from touching the ground because this does cause disease and it invites pests in more. We want to remove the little suckers that grow in the armpits of the tomatoes. We want to remove just the excess pieces, because tomatoes, and at least all the varieties I'm growing, they are indeterminate tomato plants. So tomatoes will constantly keep growing if the weather permits and if they have the environment. So they will grow super, super tall. They will grow out. They will grow and grow and grow and grow. And if you want to have big, tasty fruit, you want to prune it so that it doesn't focus its energy on expanding its size, but it focuses its energy on roots and fruits. So that's the basic reason of why we prune. And I know you gardening experts and homestead experts down below probably have even more awesome reasons why we prune, so I would love for you to drop those below for all of our beginners so they can learn even more from this channel. All right, so here's an example of a plant that needs support. I will be removing these little small pieces that are touching the ground, but this plant does need to be pulled up like this and tied up with bamboo. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, so here it is. As you can see, it's naked from the base up. I've gone ahead and removed some of these pieces that were getting low to the ground. Now, I usually like to prune a tomato plant when it's a little bit younger than this because it can damage it, making these big wounds. But I have faith. I've done this before and I'm pretty sure, you know, this plant will be fine. All of these plants will be fine with these wounds. They've already started blossoming, already begun making some tomatoes for me slowly but surely, but they'll be okay and they will be healthier eventually with some of this growth removed. I'm gonna go through and do all of these. What you're looking for when you are pruning a tomato plant, you wanna remove the suckers, which are the little pieces that come up in between the armpit of the plant, for lack of a better description. So as you can see, here's the main stalk. Here's the little branches that come out, and then see that in between this little armpit, that's a sucker that can come out. Because see, and I didn't even do a clean break there. That's why you want to use some scissors or trimmers to give it a clean break. It's better for the plant. And then this right here is technically what's called a clone. So I could put this in water and it will root, and I can make a completely different plant extension off of this Sunrise BB tomato plant. But I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it on the ground because I've got an abundance of tomatoes, as you can already see. So I'm going through, I'm removing suckers because we don't want those suckers to branch out into a completely other tomato plant. That's essentially what it does. It branches out and starts making another big stalk, and that is what makes the tomato plant get unsturdy. It makes it branch out in all these different directions. See, look at these. You can see them really clean right here. We're gonna remove that one, and I'll be going through and doing that throughout all of these. Also, I should note that pruning is best done in the rising, right when you wake up in the morning, before the sun has really started to beat down, or maybe in the evening time, but I do recommend the morning. And I tried to do that, but you know, it doesn't always work out. But I do think that the sun beating down on them once they do get these wounds, and you know, they're not really focusing on rebuilding their energy right now. Right now, the plants are focusing on getting their sun and getting fed. So yeah, I guess it's probably best to do it when it's not a really hot period of time. Aura just turned 1 on Saturday. For those of you who don't know, can you believe it? She's 1! It feels like I just had her 4 weeks ago. But we needed to use up all of this fruit. There was like watermelon, blueberries, just, we're still getting through it. We bought a ton of fruit for her little birthday picnic we had. And so we're making some of these. I just added a little bit of maca, that's it. A little bit of this right here. Shout out to you, Matcha Reserve. If you want to get some superfood powders, I have an affiliate link below. Maca, good for your endurance. Those of you who have a stale sex life, maca.
Holla. Holla at that maca. Alright.
Okay, sure. I mean, you just gotta know Michael Soul, he used to be on Fox News, his own radio station. So he's giving me work as my artist sent me. My artist finally sent me, so that's getting done because I gave him a deadline of next month because I want to release it in July. And so slowly but surely, we're getting more stuff. Are you on camera? Yes, hello. Hello. Can you show them? Hello. There it is. Very nice. She just did such a good wave to the camera. So as you have seen for the past several videos, there's a surprise in every video, and the surprise for this video is that we have a dozen we have a dozen eggs. Well, we now have 10 eggs in our incubator that will be hatching in just 3 days. And today is egg lockdown day. If you want to know a little bit more details about the hatching process, you can watch the video we just made called It Hatched, and that's the video of Sweetie, our little silky egg, hatching, and that goes over details of the incubation process a little bit more. I just want to show you what it looks like in here and tell you a little bit about them really quickly. Here's my incubator. There they are. 2 silkies were not fertile, so in here I've got 4 silkies and 6 toe bunt Polishes. These chickens are so cool looking, and last I candled them, all the toe bunt Polish were fully developing. So we are gonna have some Polish chickens. I'm very excited. And then, as you all know, Sweetie's a silky. She's a showgirl silky, but hopefully we will be able to hatch some of these silkies. All right, let me candle them for you. This is the part that Aura cannot be a part of, for those of you who watched the last video called It Hatched, you know what happened with Aura last time she tried to help me. So this is gonna help me see inside of the egg. I did this several days ago and it was really exciting because I could see that all of my eggs are developing, unlike last time. This is the last day that we wanna touch the eggs. I need to candle them, make sure everyone's developed fully, move my tray, and let them have their 3 days of no movement, no more turning. And this is the time where they're gonna start pipping and hatching out of their eggs. Okay, so let me show you what it's supposed to look like. Is there supposed to be a little air cell down here that the chick will use as its oxygen as it's trying to poke out. And the rest of it should be dark, which means the chick is taking up the whole egg.
Yeah, there we go.
It's moving.
All right, now don't blind them.
Oh, it's moving.
All right, now, all right.
Okay, so see all that darkness? That's a little tiny chick. You can see the veins and everything. So it kind of looks a little weird. I don't know, this chick is all bunched up on one side.
Because you're blind.
And as you see, it's kind of shaking. I don't know. We'll see. It's usually supposed to be like the whole entire thing is dark. But anyway, you see the air cell down here. So that's a good sign. Oh. Now this one, I don't know. It looks partially developed. Did you see all that blank space? Yeah. All that blank space?
Yeah, we see.
I don't know if this chick is fully developed. Oh, I want to mark air cells too. That's what I want to do before lockdown.
All right.
I want to show you a fully fertile egg that I'm pretty sure will hatch. Ah, look at that. Look at that. You can't see anything but darkness. That looks like an egg that will hatch. Let me show you what I took out of the incubator on like day 8 because I knew. See that?
Well, keep it still.
Sorry.
It's going back and forth.
There's just a yolk in there.
Is like,
yeah. There's nothing developing.
It looks like a light bulb.
Yeah. That's it. I just wanted to show you the difference between an unfertile and a fertile egg. I'm going to go ahead, candle the rest of these, mark the air cells, and next time you see them, they will be popping out of their eggs. And there we are. All of the air cells are marked and everyone is in position. Now we wait 3 more days. And as it gets closer to hatching or on that 3rd day, I'll be able to sit here, stand really still and watch them jiggling, slowly beginning to pip their way out. So exciting. Stay tuned. All right, we're back out here at the garden. I had to take a break, well, a long break because I was out here this morning around 9:30 and it is currently 6:30 p.m. Duty called, mother duties of course, had to call, and it was really hot out here. I was starting to drip sweat. I had already done a lot of work, but I have come out here and done my last 2 plants, tomatoes, and I want to show you the difference in how they looked from before. Look at that. Nice and neat. No more leaves touching the ground. Everyone that had leaves touching the ground got them removed. I try to cut everybody from the base up a little bit, as you can see. Everyone is now off the ground. These were a little bit difficult because I let them grow a lot before I pruned, and so they sprouted out a lot of extra suckers and branches. So I feel like for this type of, especially that one that's got so many coming out, a cage might have worked better than one bamboo stake, because you can just kind of move the branches inside the cage and let it bush up, but that's fine. You know, I just tie branches up as they go. It's okay if it looks like one big mumbo jumbo. I'm still going to be able to pull tomatoes out of there. And I'm noticing a lot of blossoms. I've got tomatoes that are beginning to grow on every single one of my tomato plants. That is super exciting. And as I was pruning this big bush, I noticed there's already tomatoes. Where are they? There they are. Beautiful as ever. Now that all of my tomatoes are up and supported, they will do so much better in their growing season, and I'm going to come and do the same with my peppers because they do need a little bit of attention. So I'm going to go through, probably remove some of these leaves that are touching the ground, maybe cut off a few of the sick leaves, and I'll definitely be cutting at the tops. Here's an example of what I can do with this Thai red chili. I can just come right in here, cut that top off. It's sad to watch, and yes, it is also sad to do, but it will help the plant become bushier. See, right here, I'm gonna come in and cut this whole big piece off. There it goes. It'll thank me in the long run. And there they are. They don't look much different, but I did take the tops off and it was quite heartbreaking. But I am having faith, and I have also removed blossoms. Maybe I should remove these too. They say if you remove the first few blossoms, it can double the amount of fruit you will be harvesting. Oh, look at that pepper already making it in there. It's so cute. Look at that little pepper. All right, no more blossoms. I had the bravery. I think now that I have stressed everyone out in this bed, I'm gonna go ahead and water the entire garden and fertilize these babies, because they're starting to fruit out, and so are the tomatoes. They could use some good dose of food. I'm gonna grab the hose to water everyone else, but I'm gonna use this Dr. Earth Organic Pump and Grow Concentrated Tomato, Vegetable, and Herb Fertilizer. I know nothing about fertilizer. Let me just let you all know ahead of time. I am starting to educate myself on compost tea, so that's coming up soon. But yeah, I'm just gonna use this because I know a lot of people that have used it and had success with it, with the organically grown food. It's just a pump concentrated, so I can pump it directly onto each plant. But in this case, I'm nervous pumping things directly onto plants because last year I fertilized directly in the base of the plant, and it burned some of my plants, and I just didn't do it correctly. So this time I'm going to pump this into a watering can and use that. I'm going to use the rainwater tank this time as well because the plants love rainwater, and after all of that cutting I just did, they could use some fertilizer and some rainwater. Good lovin'. All right, everyone is pruned and watered. Here's one last look of the gorgeous garden before we part. All of that greenery, all of those babies. It's just so exciting. And it brings me so much joy to come out here every single day and see new babies popping up, and to see fruit beginning to bud, and plants spreading their wings to make food. Thank you, garden. So, pruning. We learned pruning today. We learned why we prune plants, tomatoes specifically, because tomatoes can be indeterminate, meaning they will continue to grow indefinitely and produce many little offsprings on the plant, and we want to tame it so that we can easily harvest from it and help support it growing tomatoes instead. And we learned about peppers and why we prune many other plants. And before we go, I want to share a quote that I found about pruning on Pinterest. It's a quote by Florence Littauer. Florence Littauer. The purpose of pruning is to improve the quality of the roses, not to hurt the bush. That's all the quote had. It was just a picture of a rose in this quote, and so I sat with that because I was on Pinterest to look up pruning methods just to refresh my memory, and this beautiful quote was amongst everything. And I thought, well, what did Florence mean by to improve the quality of roses, not to hurt the bush? She could have meant it literally, meaning we are just wanting to make these roses better. We don't want to prune too much to where we harm the bush. But how can we use this quote in life? Pruning. We prune things in our lives when we need clarity. We prune to enhance our lives, to make things clearer, brighter, stronger. We prune people in our lives. That's something that I think all of us are familiar with doing. Pruning someone out of your life, whether it hurts or not, it's something that is necessary. Since becoming a mother, pruning has become very easily because I have a lot more clarity on what is important to me and who is important to me. And there have been many times when I want to do something, or I want to allow someone in, or I want to have an experience, but my body, my intuition is saying, this is not for me. And I have to prune that out of my life to have that stronger foundation. Like we prune the tomato offspring, little shooters, so that it can have a stronger foundation. And my fruit is better and more abundant. So pruning reveals new growth in the garden and in our lives. Pruning prepares us for a better harvest. When we constantly say yes to things that are not a yes in our bodies, we dilute our efforts, right? So just like the plant, it's saying yes to all of these extra pieces. When we remove the things in our lives that don't serve us, we are able to focus that energy into what serves us. And in turn, get a better harvest, get a better result. So I just wanted to share that quote with you and allow you to see the beautiful symbiosis of pruning in the garden and pruning in life. In traditional Chinese medicine, spring is the time to cleanse your body. That's the reason why you see dandelion and burdock root popping up everywhere, because these roots are helping our kidneys and our livers cleanse out. Shameless plug, my herbal reset tea that I sell on the website, the link is below. That's full of spring root cleansing herbs. And now is the perfect time to do that. And every spring, along with cleansing out my body and preparing it for a full and abundant summer, I like to one-up that and also cleanse my spirit. Check in with myself. How is my spirit feeling? How is my soul feeling? What's going on inside? So pruning is something that's important in our lives, in the springtime, in the garden, in your home, and in your heart. And know that pruning can only allow for new growth and expansion. So I hope that if you needed this message, it served you today. And if not, share this video with someone who you think may need it. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.